My dear brothers and sisters, let me tell you something about the weight of words and the power of silence. We live in a world that thirsts for knowledge but often forgets the value of mystery. A world that urges us to bare our souls, yet sometimes the strongest souls are those who know what to hold close. There are things precious, sacred things that should not be handed out like spare change. Not because we are selfish, but because we are wise. Because some things lose their power when spoken in the wrong company. So tonight, let us walk together through the 4 things you must never share with just anyone. Not out of fear, but out of self-respect. Not out of secrecy, but out of wisdom. For your peace, for your power, and for the undeniable grace that is yours to protect. Dreams are the delicate threads that weave the fabric of our becoming. They are the whispered prayers of the heart, the silent symphonies of what could be. But not all ears can hear the music you carry within you. Not all souls are meant to cradle the tender weight of your ambitions. You see, there is a power in keeping your deepest dreams close, nourishing them, guiding them, letting them bloom in the sacred quiet before the world ever lays its eyes upon them. Too often we are taught to share, to open our hearts, to spill our thoughts, to bear every inch of our desires before we've even given them the chance to take root. But there are those who will look upon your dreams and drape them in doubt. They will call them too grand, too bold, too much for someone like you. And if you are not careful, you will begin to believe them. The weight of another's disbelief is a heavy thing, my dear. It can bend even the strongest spine, shake even the surest footing. There are some who do not mean harm, but they cannot see beyond their own limitation. They speak from the smallness of their own experiences, unable to stretch their minds beyond what they have known. And then there are others, oh yes, there are others who see your light and wish to dim it. They will laugh at the audacity of your hope. Not because it is impossible, but because it is possible, and that terrifies them. You must understand, dreams are fragile things when first born. They are like seedlings pushing through the dirt, seeking the sun. They must be tended with care, watered with faith, protected from the harsh winds of negativity. If you expose them too soon, they may wither under the weight of unkind words. They may shrink in the cold stare of indifference. Not everyone who smiles at you celebrates you. Not everyone who listens to you hears you, and not everyone who hears you wants to see you rise. So be mindful. Be careful with the treasures you carry within. Speak of them only to those who will honor them, only to those who will hold them as sacred. Let your dreams grow in silence. Let them gather strength behind the veil of patience. Move with intention, with quiet determination, with the kind of grace that does not beg for permission. The world will see soon enough. When your work is done, when your vision is realized, when you stand firm in the brilliance of your own making, oh, they will see. And they will wonder how you did it, how you endured, how you carried a fire so bright without ever letting it flicker in the wrong hand. But you will know. You will know that the secret was never in the telling, it was in the doing. It was in the faith you kept, the silence you honored, the quiet work that needed no validation. So I tell you now, with all that I have, protect your dreams. Let them breathe in safe places. Let them grow beyond the reach of careless tongues. And when the time is right, when they are strong enough, unshakable enough, let them speak for themselves. Pain is a private thing. It moves in the quiet of the night, in the stillness between heartbeats, in the corners of the soul where no light reaches. It is heavy, but it is yours. And not everyone who asks about it is asking to lighten your load. Some ask so they may measure their strength against your weakness. Some ask so they may carry your story not in love, but in gossip. Some ask only to remind you how small they wish for you to be. You must be careful with your struggles, careful with the things that have bruised you. The world will tell you that sharing is healing, that opening your wounds will make them close faster. But not all hands are gentle, not all words are kind. Some people listen only so they may know where to press. Some people wait only to watch you break. And if you are not careful, you will mistake their curiosity for concern, their hunger for your suffering and sympathy. There is strength in survival, but there is also strength in silence. Not every ache needs an audience. Not every sorrow needs a stage. Your battles are sacred. The nights you spent crying, the days you spent fighting, the moments you thought you would never rise again, those are yours. And not everyone has earned the right to know them, because there are those who will not honor them. There are those who will look at your pain and see it as a weakness rather than proof that you endured. They will take your wounds and turn them into whispers. They will use your struggles as weapons, throwing them back at you when it suits them. You must guide yourself. You must know that wisdom is not in the telling, but in the knowing when to tell. Share your burdens only with those who will help you carry them. Speak of your pain only to those who will cradle it with care. Because not everyone who hears your story deserves a place in it. And not everyone who hears your pain will want to see you healed. Healing is a quiet thing. It does not demand applause. It does not ask for validation. It happens in the stillness of your own becoming. Let yourself mend in peace. Let yourself grow without the weight of other people's opinions on whether your suffering was real, whether your pain was justified, whether you have the right to still be hurting. The truth is, you owe no one an explanation for your healing. You owe one the story of your scars. Let them wonder. Let them question. Let them make their own assumptions. But hold your head high, knowing that you have walked through fire and did not turn to ash. Knowing that your strength is not in the telling of your pain, but in the living beyond it. Knowing that your struggles do not define you, your survival does. And that is something they can never take from you. Goodness is not something you hold up for the world to see. It is not a trophy to be polished, not a banner to be waved, not a song that demands to be sung. Goodness is quiet. It moves like a whisper, soft and sure. It does not beg for attention, does not demand recognition, does not seek validation from those who have learned to recognize its weight. The purest kindness is the kind done in silence, in the unseen corners of life where no eyes watch, where no applause follows. There are those who give and then turn to see who is watching. They wear their kindness like a garment, stitched together with expectation, waiting for praise, waiting for admiration. But real goodness, oh, real goodness, has no need for such things. It does not call out its own name, does not remind the world of its presence. It simply is. When you do something good, let it be enough that you did it. Let it be enough that someone's burden is lighter, that someone's heart is fuller, that the world in some small way is better because of you. Let your kindness be a gift, not a transaction, because the moment you seek validation for your good deeds, they are no longer good deeds, they are performances. And the world does not need more performers. It needs more people who give without expecting, who love without demanding, who serve without needing to be seen. Some will tell you that if no one knows of your goodness, it is wasted. But that is not so. The sun does not announce itself each morning, it simply rises, and the world is bright because of it. The river does not boast of the life it nurtures, it simply flows, and the earth is nourished in its passing. Be like that. Be like the things that do not need to be celebrated to be essential. There are those who will take your kindness and twist it. They will say, if you were truly good, you would let people know. If you were truly generous, the world would see. But goodness does not need an audience. And if it does, then it is not goodness at all, it is vanity dressed in kindness clothing. So be mindful. Be careful of those who measure your heart by how loudly you declare it. Be careful of those who encourage you to give so that others may see and approve. Because approval fades, recognition is fleeting, but the goodness you put into the world that remains. Let your kindness be the kind that lingers long after you have left the room. Let it be the kind that touches lives in ways you will never fully know. Let it be the kind that does not shout, does not boast, does not wait to be acknowledged. There is something sacred about kindness given in secret, about love that asks for nothing in return, about generosity that expects no reward. That is the kind of goodness that changes the world. And if no one ever knows your name because of it, if no one ever sings your praises because of it, if no one ever stops to say, look at what I have done, what of it? The sun still shines, the river still flows, and the world is still better because you were here. And that is enough. Money is a curious thing. It moves people, changes them, reveals them. It can build bridges or burn them, open doors or close them, lift them higher and leave others behind. But what money should never do is define you. It is a tool, not a truth. A resource, not a reflection of your work. And yet, the moment you begin to share too much about what you have or what you lack, the world starts looking at you differently. Some will measure you by your wealth, deciding your value based on the weight of your pockets rather than the weight of your spirit. If you have little, some will look at you with pity, as if a light in you has been dimmed by your circumstances. If you have much, others will look at you with envy, as if your blessings are a crime they must solve. And neither of those glances serve you. Neither of those judgments tell the truth about who you are. Money draws attention, and attention is not always kind. Some people will only wish you well until they believe you are doing better than them. Some will see your fortune, be it great or small, as something they have the right to discuss, to question, to take. And suddenly what was once just a number in your account becomes a topic at their table. They will tell you what you should do with it, how you should spend it, where you should place it, as if your labor, your sacrifice, your discipline were theirs to manage. Be careful with that. Be careful with how much you let the world know. Because the more they know, the more they feel entitled to take. And I do not just mean taking from your hand, I mean taking from your peace, from your sense of security, from your right to live without the weight of their expectations pressing down upon you. The less they know, the less they can dictate. The less they know, the less they can use against you. There are those who disguise curiosity as concern. They will ask you how much you make, how much we save, how much we give, always under the guise of interest, always under the pretense of care. But not everyone who asks is asking out of love. Some ask to compare, some ask to compete. Some ask just to know where to place you in their minds, above them or beneath them. Keep your affairs to yourself. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them assume what they will. Because the truth is, no matter what you tell them, they will believe what they want to believe. If you say you have little, they will say you are hiding more. If you say you have plenty, they will say you do not deserve it. If you say nothing at all, they will still talk, but at least then they will be talking about a mystery, not a certainty. Live your life without feeling the need to explain what is in your hands. Money comes and money goes, but dignity should remain. Let no one make you feel ashamed for having too little or too much. Let no one place your worth on a scale built by their own insecurities. Walk with your head high, knowing that what you have does not define you, and what they think of what you have does not concern you. The ones who matter will never count your coins before they count your character. And the ones who count your coins were never truly counting you at all. Family is a sacred thing, a bond woven by blood, by history, by the kind of love that does not always come easy, but still insists on existing. It is where we come from, the root from which we grow, the echo of voices that shaped us long before we ever learned our own name. But family is also complicated. It is joy and it is struggle. It is laughter and it is silence. It is love and it is wounds that sometimes take a lifetime to heal. The world will tell you to share, to speak freely of the matters that unfold within your home, to make a spectacle of your private storm. They will lean in, eager to listen, but not always eager to understand. Because not everyone who asks about your family cares about your family. Some simply want to watch, to dissect, to take your pain and turn it in their entertainment. Be careful with that. Be careful with the way you open your door, with the way you lay bare the people who raised you, the ones you have fought with, the ones you have fought for. Not because they are perfect, not because they have always done right, but because family is not for the world to pick apart. The struggles that live between those walls, the tensions that rise and fall, the mistakes, the hard patches, the long histories of love tangled up in misunderstanding, those things belong to you and the ones who share your name, not to the whispers of those who were never meant to hold them. Some will ask out of curiosity, pretending it is concern. They will lean in with questions dressed in sympathy, waiting for you to tell them of the arguments, the divisions, the mistakes that have been made. And the moment you do, the moment you hand them your family's wounds, they will carry them not with care, but with loose hands, dropping them in the laps of others who were never meant to know. What was once yours, once something to be worked through in quiet, now becomes the conversation of strangers, turned and twisted until it is no longer even your truth, just a story that no longer belongs to you. Some things are meant to be protected. Some things are meant to be worked through behind closed doors, without the weight of outside eyes pressing in. Because family is more than just its struggles. Family is the effort to mend what is broken. It is the patience of love that keeps showing up, even when it is tired, even when it is wounded. And no one can ever truly understand what exists between you and the ones you call your own. Hold your family close, even when they are difficult, even when they are flawed, even when they have not yet learned how to love you the way you deserve. Because the world will never see them as you do. The world will take what you tell them and make its own judgment, its own assumptions, its own conclusions that do not leave room for grace, for forgiveness, for the quiet work of healing that happens behind the scenes. Let them wonder. Let them assume. Let them ask their questions, but keep what matters to you sacred. Not out of shame, not out of secrecy, but out of love. Because some things are not meant for the world. Some things are meant for the heart, for the home, for the quiet spaces where real love, real healing, and real understanding are built. And that is something the world does not need to see to be real. The world is a noisy place filled with voices that want to know where you're going, what you're doing, what your next move will be. They ask out of curiosity, out of interest, out of the habit of people who think they are entitled to the unfolding of your journey. But not every path is meant to be walked in the presence of onlookers. Not every step forward needs an announcement. Not every dream in motion needs to be declared before it is realized. There is a power in silence, a strength in moving without the weight of expectation pressing against your back. Because the moment you begin to speak of what you plan to do, the moment you start laying out your intentions before they have had the chance to take root, the world will have something to say. Some will offer encouragement, many will offer doubt. Some will clap for you, but many will question you. And if you are not careful, you will take their words, their uncertainty, their fears dressed as advice, and you will let them plant themselves in your spirit. You will begin to wonder if you are capable, if you are worthy, if you should even take the steps you had once been so certain of. Not everyone wants to see you win. That is the truth of it. Some will smile in your face, but wait for you to fail. Some will pretend to cheer for you while secretly hoping you never get too far ahead. Some will take what you tell them and try to place obstacles in your path, not because they need to, but because they cannot stand to see you rise while they remain where they are. And it is not because you have done them harm, not because you have wronged them, but simply because some people measure their own worth by how small others can remain. Move in silence, let your work speak for you. Let your progress be the only announcement you make. Let your success be the only confirmation that you were ever on a path at all. There is something sacred about building in the quiet, about working in the shadows, about crafting a life without the pressure of outside opinions shaping you to see yourself. The things that grow in silence often grow the strongest. The things that are nurtured away from prying eyes often bloom the most beautifully. Do not mistake secrecy for dishonesty. Do not let the world make you believe that keeping your journey to yourself is something to be ashamed of. Privacy is not a betrayal of those around you. It is a form of protection. You are protecting your vision from the ones who cannot see it. You are protecting your spirit from the ones who do not believe in it. You are protecting your dream from the ones who would tear it apart before it ever has a chance to breathe. There will come a time when your work is done, when the seeds you have planted in silence have grown into something undeniable. And when that time comes, the world will see. They will see the strength in your stride, the certainty in your steps, the greatness you have built without ever asking for permission. They will wonder how you did it, how you moved so far, so fast, so powerfully without them ever knowing. Let them wonder. Let them ask. Let them fill the silence with their own stories. Because by then it will not matter. You will already be exactly where you were always meant to be.